Hello guys, time for another Tony Talks, and this is my second part of my two-part series, if you will, when I react to my, some of the music that I grew up with. I talked a lot about Sabotage in the other episode, and unfortunately it was a little bit longer from the beginning, but I got some copyright issues for one song. It became a little bit not so long as it was supposed to be, but hey, that's life. But now I have tried all these songs I'm going to show today, and they are, I hope, okay to make a YouTube video of. I'm not going to have a particular order which music is most important or something. I'm going to just pick them as I have put them in this program. I'm going to take Paradise Lost here. A song that's called True Belief. And I have told you many times before, I have never been that kind of guitar player like that want to be like Yngwie Malmsteen or John Petrucci or Dream Theater and people like that. I have always drawn more to this kind of guitars. You hear these chugging guitars? Every time I hear guitars like that, that gets me, yeah. That's the soul. One of the reasons why I start to play guitar is just to being able to play that kind of chugging kind of thing. And as you hear, Paradise Lost has all the emotions else as well. It's heavy, emotional, and kind of gothic, if you will. And they actually started as a death metal band, but they played slow. They have never been a fast band. And they got away of the death vocals for a while, but I think they're back now in the band. I haven't listened to the last couple of albums, so last 5 or something, I don't know. I have my favorite albums with Paradise Lost. Paradise Lost has always have the kind of same foundation in the music from the beginning to up to now, even though they have had different periods of different arrangement and settings in a way. They have they started with growls, and then they got rid of it, and then it came back, and they implemented keyboards. Speaking of keyboards and those kind of electronic stuff, they changed quite a bit with an album called 1 Second, and I remember when I bought that record, I was like, did I buy the wrong album? Because I was used to this that we hear now, and then this 1 Second album came, and it was more like Depeche Mode or something. It was not so heavy and very electronic, no growls, and I didn't like that album in the beginning, but since then it's a very nice record. I really like it a lot. It's not so heavy maybe, but very emotional and very easy to listen to. I would put it like that. And a couple of albums later, I believe, they released a song called Isolate from an album Symbol of Life. And here you can hear the electronic elements that I am very inspired by when I write my own music. it's still here. It's still heavy, but in another way. To hear all those keyboard details in the background, those kind of things are I really love those parts. When I make my music, is among those parts that I work most on. Oh my god, good album. I've listened to it a lot of in my, not my youngest youth, but in my late teens maybe. And that album came out. But Paradise Lost has been a great inspiration for those chugging riffs and the slow melancholic kind of stuff. And I remember I read an interview with them when they started the band. They started as a death metal band, but every other band, they said, played fast. So they thought they would do the opposite, so they played slow. And that mentality has always like stuck with me in my own music, that I don't really want to, if I talk about myself, I'm not the most technical guitar player out there, but I don't want to be, and there are a lot of technical guitar players, so why do I have to be like them? I can only be me and play my kind of guitars, and even though it's maybe more simple than some of the music out there, but I try to do what I do good instead of just being like everyone else. Yeah, just a side note. Talking about death vocals, growls, the first band that introduced me to growls was Dark Tranquillity from Gothenburg. And I remember this record. It's a record called Projector, and it was my brother that bought it, and I didn't understand growl at that point. I thought it was hard to listen to. Dark Tranquillity was the gateway in the growl for me, the death metal for me, because that album Projector had both growls and clean vocals. And today it's quite common, but when they did it, especially for being Dark Tranquillity, that it was something new. When I listened to the songs on that album, I listened to the clean parts, and I didn't really like the growl parts. But since I want to listen to a particular song that had a nice clean melody, I had to endure the growls as well. When time went on, I started to appreciate the growls as well. So Dark Tranquillity was my real first death metal band, and I still love them today. They have not made a bad record, if you ask me. But here is a song from that album Projector, On Your Time. Not a famous song, I think, but this is the last song on that album. And at that time when I listened to this, I thought this was kind of almost too heavy for me. This I didn't understand though. The growl part was, what's this like? What? But now I really dig it. Now comes one of those parts that I fell in love with. His voice and the clean atmosphere and the sadness. He has a quite unique voice. Yeah, so I think that album is not considered one of their best, I believe, by their fans, but that was the gateway to death metal for me. So another band that has meant a lot to me is the band Iced Earth, and I know some of you guys now think, oh my god, yeah, some shit has happened with Jon Schaffer and the thing in USA, but I'm not going to talk about it here. I'm just going to talk about music and what the band has meant to me, because despite the things that have happened in America, I still think Iced Earth had at least awesome music. So we're going to talk about music here. And this was my first Iced Earth album. Actually, it was my girlfriend at the time. And this was a great gateway to Iced Earth as well, because this album had like 50% slow and easy listenable songs, if you will. And then I started to listen to the other albums as well. And for me, this era of Iced Earth has two key components. The first being Matthew Barlow's voice. He has a very emotional voice and still has a strong voice and aggressive voice, but he still has that melancholic voice that I like, the sadness, if you will. And the guitar playing of Jon Schaffer is phenomenal. Everybody is talking about James Hetfield being the best rhythm guitar player in the world, and in a way I agree, but Jon Schaffer is greatly overlooked, because listen. It's a lot of that galloping kind of riffing, and he do it as tight live as well, what I've heard. So that kind of guitar playing, when I use those galloping kind of riffs in my music, it comes from Iced Earth. It was the first band that I ever heard do that kind of thing, especially in that extent that they do. They are like known for their galloping. So of course Metallica have some songs with that, and other thrash bands, and but Iced Earth is for me that band that really sold the concept of galloping. You have to have a mean right arm for this. We did a cover with Zephyra back in the day of Watching Over Me acoustic one. It's up on YouTube still, I believe, if you want to check that out. After Matthew Barlow left Iced Earth, I kind of stopped listening to them because, sure, Jon Schaffer was still there with his guitar playing, but they got a new singer called Stu Block, and he is good in his own right, very talented, but it was like when Ripper Owens tried to replace Rob Halford in Judas Priest or Blaze Bayley in Iron Maiden. It's hard to replace someone who was beloved, and Matthew Barlow was very beloved in Iced Earth. For me, he is the right Iced Earth singer, so it's kind of hard, tough spot for Stu Block to fill those shoes. Those albums that I did with Matthew Barlow is top notch in my book, at least. And if you're gonna go to another band that is closely related to Iced Earth in a way, is Blind Guardian. Not so much music-wise, but for you guys that do not know, that Jon Schaffer and Hansi Kurz have a project together called Demons Wizards, and have toured together and are good friends and so on. Maybe not anymore, though. And Blind Guardian is one of those bands that really, in the late 90s, I listened to a lot of power metal, if you will, epic metal. The more big and orchestral like it was, the better. And Blind Guardian is still one of those bands that I really love a lot, because his voice is unmatched in this genre. I particularly like this album by Blind Guardian because it still has that kind of thrashy vibe, but it's also have the orchestral kind of things and choirs. And here comes the chorus with a lot of choirs, and I always wanted to have songs with a lot of choirs. The closest thing that we got to choirs, I think, is in our song Zephyra Paper Crown. In the intro song, also did some amazing vocals there. A lot of choir kind of stuff. Sounded very big and epic. So what do you think? Are you surprised on my music choices, or is it what you expected? Let me know. Another band, a band called Fight. I don't know if everyone has heard this band. It was when Rob Halford left Judas Priest, he started the band Fight. So he sings here. And again, we have the chugging guitars that I love so much. I prefer to play like this over fast songs. There's something about the chugging guitars that gets me going. Every time I pick up my guitar, it's the first thing I do. Fun thing about Fight is that one of the guitar players in here is actually Satchel from Steel Panther. And I really don't like Steel Panther for many reasons. But I read in an interview the other week actually, and I saw that it was Satchel that played guitar on this album that I like so much. So, yeah, kind of a surprise there, because Steel Panther is nothing like this. So, if we're gonna continue on the road with heavy bands, here we have Morgana Le Fay from Sweden. I don't know how famous they are outside Sweden, but again we have those chugging guitars that I love so much. So if you listen to this and Fight and Paris Lost, you can kind of understand maybe where I'm coming from in my guitar playing, combined with the thrashy stuff from Metallica and stuff. But I can't help myself to really love this kind of heavy chugging kind of guitar playing. And his voice kind of reminds me actually of John Oliva as well. You gotta headbang when you hear this. Yeah, I like those simple, heavy guitars. Another band has meant a lot to me in my teens, I believe, is the band Evergreen. This is from the second album, Solitude, Dominance, Tragedy. My brother knew the drummer at the time, so I knew about Evergreen before their first record, actually. But I didn't really like the first album when I heard it. I thought it was kind of hard to get into. But when the second album arrived, I was hooked more easily. And Evergreen has a lot of chugging as well, but in a different kind, like this you hear now. A lot of rhythmic stuff. So all of my, not all, but a lot of my rhythmic stuff I write has some inspiration from early Evergreen. Our song Gone by Dawn from our second album, As the World Collapses, if you heard that one. The intro part to that is kind of rhythmic, and that was heavily inspired by Evergreen. And actually, the working title for that album was called Evergreen Song or something. And I really enjoy Tom's vocals a lot more back then, back here. He still sings very good. He sings almost too good now, if you can say like that. Because back here he had, in my opinion, more anxiety and more desperation in the voice. Let's continue with a band called Gamma Ray. And Gamma Ray and Halloween are maybe one or two of those bands that I like to have maybe more happy metal, if you will. This was the first album I heard with Gamma Ray from this is Landlord Free album. The song Rebellion in Dreamland from Landlord Free. And all my earliest inspiration for guitar melodies came from Kai Hansen in Gamma Ray. Maybe some Halloween as well, but Kai Hansen is so awesome at guitar melodies. and this is one of those records that is good. Is great all the way through. And Kai Hansen has one of those voices like Dave Mustaine that I think that you like it or hate it. I like it. It's not perfect by any means, but it's very distinguishable from other bands. Again, very cheesy video, but great song. Here we have another Gamera song, and it is more of the happy kind and crazy kind, if you will, but I like that part of Gamera as well, and me and Åsa have sang this song a lot of times in the car. And this is Kai Hansen singing here, but on the first Gamera version, it was Ralph Sheepers that is now in Primal Fear. I really wonder how do you write a song like this, but because this song changes all the time throughout the song. Masterpiece. I'm gonna end with a song from a band that I can't ignore as well. It's Megadeth, of course. I can't remember which was my first Megadeth album actually, but I think it was this one. Because I bought this, and so far so good, so what? At a discount at some store, and I still have mixed feelings about Megadeth today. I think that 50% of what they do is not for me. But the other 50% are really good. So it's like I think that most albums they do are quite uneven for me. Even albums like Rust in Peace are a masterpiece in its own right, but still it has some songs there that I really don't like. So yeah, like 50-60% are good and other not for me. And I chose this song because this is a song that back in the day and still now gets me kind of happy or angry or yeah, get the blood pumping. And I actually saw a video of David Ellison in some video of YouTube when he played this bass line, and it was quite complex. I didn't hear it before he showed it, but now I can hear it. It's like the ending part is best. This part and to the end. Sorry, I can't sit still. So I think I'm gonna end this video there. This is not every song, of course, from my youth, but some of them I was the first that came to my mind. And it was quite fun to revisit the songs that really shaped me in my way of thinking of music and even writing my own music. Thank you for watching me and my ugly face again. I will come back with another thing. I don't really know yet what I'm going to do next, so please let me know. Okay? Have a nice day, night, evening, whatever. Wherever you are. Horns up. See you. Don't forget Slashy Fest. Or maybe not a kitten will die, but something will die. So Slashy Fest, May 8th.